Okay.
Okay, it felt you.
We are live.
Hi, everyone. Are you there? Praise ye the Lord. How you doing, guys? Hi, everyone. Begin to tag and share. Begin to tag and share. Everyone, praise the Lord. Welcome to the village. We're going to have a wonderful time. Everyone begin to tag and share. Invite someone, tag and share. Tag and share. This is the day that the Lord had made, and surely we're glad in it. Okay, I have my same guest that I had last week. It was just so awesome talking about dating and marriage and relationship. We heard the teen point of view. We heard the single woman point of view. We heard the male single point of view. We heard the divorce point of view. We heard restarting over again. So today we are going to go deeper. Are you not excited? You know, oftentimes we don't have people talking about relationship in this season, but you know, I think it's relationship and marriage and dating is important. Let me say it again. I believe it's important at this time. Very, very important. So begin to tag and share. Begin to tag and share and invite someone to come on in. Tag and share. I'm trying to get the numbers up a little bit more, but I need you to tag and share others and let them know. Tag and share. Okay, my guest on tonight, we're not going to be before you too long tonight. We have Cynthia Brown. Say hi to your audience, Cynthia Brown.
Hello, everyone.
Then we have Jamari Brown. Say hi, Jamari.
What's going on, Facebook fam? How y'all doing?
We got James. Say hi to everyone.
What's up, y'all?
We got the Cyruses. Say hi, everyone. The Cyruses, the couple point of view. Jamari Brown, the teenager point of view. James, the male point of view. Then we have no other than Chavaris. Say hi to them, everyone.
What's up? What's up?
Y'all give me some thumbs up. Give me some hearts. Let me know, are you ready to get down into the nitty gritty? Are you ready to get down with your most familiar question, your dating question? Because after this session, I want you to begin to post and ask question, and we are here to answer it. You know, I don't know if you know about my life, but me, Pastor Caron Jones, been through all these experiences. Well, Pastor, what experience do you have? I have experience that I've been married before for 10 years to the unsaved. I've been married before 8 years to the saved pastor. I have children. I have 4 boys. My oldest is 37. My second one is 33. I have another one 27, and I have another one 21. So I know the experiences. And guess what, guys? I have grandchildren. I got 2 grandkids. So I got the experience, okay? So I know how to, you know, go from which area to which area. I know about the teenager dating because I've been there and done that. I had my first child when I was 17 years old. I've been there and done that. Somebody write down, I've been there and done that. So now you're going to hear it from us. We got Elder Keisha and Stacy. They've been married for over how many years, guys?
17 years.
17 years. Amen. I've been married for what? 18 plus what? 18 plus 10 is 28 years of marriage experience.
Wow.
With the saved, the unsaved, okay? I'm going to tell you the difference because there is a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Elder Cynthia got experience with the divorce. So do I, the divorce.
Yes.
Okay. We got Tavares. He got the experience being married and being divorced and still trying to maintain a celibate life.
Right.
We got James married and divorced twice. Let me say it again. How many times? Twice.
Before the age of 25.
For the age of 25.
Testify.
Before the age
Come
of
on.
25.
So all you little young chickadees, we're going to tell you about being married at a young age. Okay? So you're talking about a people up here with a whole lot of wealth of experiences. Okay? No shortcoming, but experiences and telling you the do's and the don'ts. See, I'm a type of person, I don't know about you. You know, I don't want nobody to tell me nothing unless they experienced it. You know what I'm saying? I think when people experience things, it's more effective. Even though you say, well, a counselor may not have experienced it. Yes, they did. They went to college, they went to school and got a certificate in it. They experienced it. They was taught it. So it's good to get information from people that experienced it, been taught it, or walked it out, or lived it, and saw the success of surviving through it.
All right.
Amen. Let me say it again. See the success of surviving to it. So go ahead, you guys, begin to tag and share. Invite some people, because we get ready to get down to the nitty gritty. Say it with me, the nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty.
Come on, with the get down, with the get down.
We go what do you call it? The get down, to get down.
Yeah.
Because you know what, saints? Guess what? The church don't like to talk about it.
True.
They don't want to talk about sex. They don't want to talk about dating. They don't want to talk about relationship. That's the last thing on they program. Like we don't want to hear that, because if we talk about that, that's a sin. No. Let's put it on the table and let's deal with it. Somebody write down, deal with it. Today we're going to deal with it. Okay, so let's go on to our first candidate. We will talk to Jamari. Now, you're on the teenager point of view, and we want to hear some feedbacks from you from the teenager point of view. My question to Jamari is this, and I till this day don't understand these young people, even with me having 4 boys. The question is, why young people don't like to listen to their elders and seems to rather go through the experience themselves. I don't know why. It's like if you tell them something not to do it, they're like, because we already experienced it. We already know the outcome of something. And if we go to them, they'd be like, oh, they'd rather experience themselves. I don't know. Do you think the older we get, we say to ourselves, all you got to do is tell me about it, because I'm not going to go experience it. I'm going to take somebody's word that already went through it. But we find with teenagers, they don't want to hear nothing that we have to say. How I know? I got 4 boys. Mm-hmm. I can tell it 6 to 7 times. Ma, well, you go through it. And then they come back and find out you were telling the truth. Why do we find this younger generation more rebellion than ever? Could you explain that?
I think it's 2 parts, honestly, to it. Number one, I think that you gotta, number one, the older people or the parents, you 100% gotta live what you're telling a young person. Mm-hmm. When it comes to young people, it's not do as I say, it's do as I do. And, everyone has their own struggles and everyone has their own things that they're dealing with. But if it's on display and the young people can see it, that's really a bad taste for young people. And at times, it's really hard to follow your own words that you tell young people. But this is one thing that I know with young people, though. We naturally recognize hypocrisy. Even if we don't know how to.
Young people naturally
naturally know how to like spot hypocrisy. And we know that it's wrong, even if we don't know how to articulate it. Even if we don't know how to say, okay, this is what it is. Like, we know how to see that. So I think that's the first part of it. I think that when you're telling a young person, hey, do this, that, and the third, number one, you got to be living that. That's something that you really have to stand by, and you got to live by that. But then I think number two, you just got to give young people enough space to learn. You have to. Like, rebellion is just a part of growing up and trying to figure out who you are. What I really think about is like in the Bible, the prodigal son, the son that took all he had and left. The
Mhm.
Bible never say that the Bible never says that the dad tried to stop him. He kind of just let him go out and see what the world was about. But it say that at some point in time he came to himself.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think that's where the wisdom come in with the older people. You got to kind of, in a sense, let young people get out there and experience a little bit for themselves, and just trust that the wisdom that you put inside of them is going to eventually come back to them and say, wait a minute, hold up. I'm wilding out just a little bit too much right now. I got to get myself together. So I think the first part, you definitely have to live by what you're telling them, because they're watching, they see things, they hear things. But then number two, you do got to give them enough space to just kind of live their life and figure it out.
You know, I think you're so right. I remember when I was young and I was 16 and 17, and my mom I was so rebellious as a little girl.
Mhm.
I did not listen to my parents. I was grown. I had my little boyfriend. You know, a lot of time these young teenagers, whether it's male or female, they are influenced by relationships.
Right.
And most of the time that I find out that gets them out there is relationships, wrong relationships. That's what messed me up. I got involved with the wrong relationship at a wrong age. And my mom them used to tell me, I never listened. So you know what I did? I ran away from home at a young age. I ran away from home and I had to go out there, learn for myself, gain my own experience, and come back home and tell my mom she was right. So I do believe you are correct when it comes to the teenagers. Sometimes as parents, we just got to back up and let the Bible, because the Bible said, train up a child in the way they should grow. And when they get old, we shall not depart. And you know, you made it a statement. You said that, well, you know, a lot of time they have to see it. I think a lot of time our parents did show it to us, but they still choose to make the decision they wanted to choose. They still were influenced by the outside influencers, because I think at a certain age, as parents, we lose our influence to our children, and we have no control of that, because then they become influenced by either their boyfriends or other people in the street. So as parents, we lose our influence. So that's why the Bible said, train up a child as the way they should go, and when they get old, they shall not depart. So I think a season in our lives as parents, we got to back up and let God. We got to know that everything we prayed about, everything we passed about that child, everything we believe God to do concerning that child's life, that he got that child. And we got to let them go out there and experience. You know, when I was out there in the world, there were so many people that I knew that were hooked on drugs. And their parents did everything to try to keep them delivered. They'll go to the drug house, you know, to try to bring them from the drug house. They'll go to the bowling alley. I mean, every area they would chase their child down till it was killing them. So as parents, I think sometimes we have to let go before it kills us. And you have to come to a point in life when you get older, you got to say, wait a minute, I can't take this. This is too much for me to bear now. This child is being influenced and I got to leave it alone. And I got to trust God that he's going to handle their process. Let me say it again. We got to trust God that he's going to handle those kids' process. Because one thing we can't do, we can't get rid of people's process. They got to go through their own process so they can have a testimony. I believe process gives us a testimony. So I believe that as parents, sometimes we do have to let go and we have to let God. So Mari, we want to thank you on that answer that you have given us regards to children. Now let's go to Cynthia. Now this is a very big question. Let me tell you something. I must say this, okay? Now, you know, I made a statement earlier that I experienced being married for 18 years, then I experienced being married for 10 years. But could I tell you this? This is my first experience being married, being single for 5 years. I was in relationships and I was in a teenager because I got married very young. So this is my first time experiencing being single for 5 years. So let me ask you, because you're single, how does a woman pour into herself when she's single? You're married all these years. Now you're by yourself. You used to having someone in the bed with you. You used to having someone to go to the movies with on Saturday. You used to having someone to talk to all the time. You know, you just always had that companion. Now you're left alone. How do a woman occupy her time so that desire doesn't override her emotion?
Pastor, one thing that I learned after going through my divorce, the biggest thing I think that I had to do was get to know myself. Because when you're married, you're focused on your marriage and you're focused on your children, being a great parent, being that great wife or husband. So for me, I had to get to know myself more. I had to get to know myself better. Then I had to start doing things that would bring me some type of joy and that would, take my mind off of what I had endured, through my marriage and, through the divorce. So I started traveling more. I started trying to have fun more with myself. I started doing, creating ideals and doing things that would bring me some joy, like doing different type of crafts. Like, I feel like you have to start to value yourself more.
And I think what you're saying is true. I think what a woman do is, because she was been married for so long and now she's free, she needs to adventure into things that she was never able to do when she was married. Right, because when you're married, it's different things you could do when you're single. Like you said, travel, adventure. And I think when a woman becomes single before she gets connected with someone else, she needs to find the deepness that lies in her. She needs to pull out the jewels within herself before she's able to offer the jewels
to somebody else. Exactly.
And how you do that? By pouring into yourself.
Yes.
Because I found out.
Also get you a support team. That's what I had to do. Every situation is different and every woman is different. But I'm grateful that I had a support team that I could travel with and that I could talk with. So, because sometimes, holding it in, it doesn't help. You have to be able to, talk about it. You have to let it out. And you have to not be afraid to, to speak on it or talk about it. And that's what I did. So it helped me, and it helped me tremendously. And now I don't have that fear no more of wanting to pour into me. So I feel much better doing it now.
Pour into you makes you feel wonderful, right?
Yes.
It's like going. So when we say pour into us, we talked about a woman taking a trip. We talk about a woman going to the spa. We talk about what else we talk about. She can just go shopping,
go get your nails
done, get a little color in your hair a little bit.
Yeah.
Get your clothes, stop feeling, real loose.
Start experiencing different things. Try out different makeup, perfume.
Right.
Share those ideas with other women that's single, that willing to, listen. But but I think my greatest thing was I had a great support team. Because I remember it was many years ago, because I divorced in 2009. So I've been single for 11 years.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Yes.
We got another one been single for 11 years. We got another one single for 11 years. We got one been single for 5. How long you been single, Javaris?
3 years.
And then you got Jamari, never been married. Wow. So we found out it's kind of hard finding someone, huh? Yeah. It's not as easy that we thought, huh?
It's not as easy as no. Times has really changed. It is not as easy. Not when you have your mind set on what you want.
All right now.
What you want?
All right.
So you think that as women, we put in a box. He got to be like Pastor Caron list, right? I think us ladies, we all got a list. And sometimes that list is just ridiculous.
No, but
he got to be 6'1". Let me tell you my list. He got to be at least 6'1". He got to at least work out at the gym, because I love to work out. He got to own his own house, because guess what? Yeah. I already own my own house. And you ain't coming up in here.
But Pastor,
I don't mean to be mean or anything,
Right.
You just that you have your house and I have my house, so now we have 2 houses. You know
but
what I'm saying? So I think it depends on the age level, how you're looking for a
Yes.
man to be established. Because when you hit your 50s, I'm in my 50s, and when you hit your 50s, you're looking for somebody that's really established. You're not
It's
looking to start
different.
over because
Yeah.
you're too far gone.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, because I'm 53, so like yeah, you think different. You
You
don't
think
think the same as you were when you was in your 30s, or
now, would you
And
get
Elder
somebody?
Keisha,
Let me ask you
right?
a question. Would you get somebody that's potential? Or we past the
Absol-
season of potential because we're in our 50s?
Well, no, you have to start somewhere. You
Come
have
on,
to
start
start
somewhere.
somewhere.
Come on.
Right,
You
okay,
have to
wait
start
a minute,
somewhere,
back up.
Pastor.
Start somewhere
No,
by how? What would you accept?
what would I accept?
Yes.
He has to have a job, number one.
Come on,
Okay,
y'all.
right, number two.
What else?
So those are, I mean, so you start from there. You start,
Right.
and he
Come on,
definitely have to be stable.
The two
He has
J's.
to have
Come on.
some
Jesus and a
stability.
job. Come on. That's
He
a
has
start.
to be stable, and and then we can go from there. But last week when we spoke on this, and Minister Myra said something so great, and Elder Keisha and I was talking on this on Friday, when he said pattern after a model. And sometimes at my age now, sometimes you see that Christian model, that Christian pattern, because the reason why I'm saying that, when all the girls would say it, all the ladies would say it in the church, we saw such a phenomenal marriage with you and Pastor James.
Yeah.
We would always say, like, God, if you could send me a man like Pastor James, because we saw the spiritual man, we saw that great father. And then when you look at Elder Keisha and Elder States in marriage, knowing that they've been married for 17 years, so that you look at that as a model, and you'll say, that's something I would like to pattern my marriage based upon that. So that's why I say, once you get a certain age, the game's over. It's time for stability. It's time to say, this is what I want, God. And
So
I'm
you
not.
believe there's a lot of games out there right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, let's sway on to James and Tavares. This is a good sway lane right now. This is a good question. Okay, James and Tavares, how does a man know she the one?
Oh, I want to hear this.
Uh,
How do a man know she the one?
I mean, honestly, I'm still single, so I don't know. You remember? I thought about the one to the church picnic at one time.
You bought
Remember
what
the
to
girl I
the
took
church
off to the
picnic?
church picnic?
Uh-huh.
I thought she was the one. She go nut up at the church picnic. How you go
Oh
nut up at
my
the church picnic?
God.
Yeah,
She
man.
got up at the church picnic.
Yeah, that was a bad experience, Jan. I'm sorry.
So you found out at the church picnic she wasn't the one.
Oh my God, I was in love. I thought this was it. She had everything I wanted, built right, looked right, little chocolate thing. Oh, but she acted up. So I mean, it's hard to tell. I don't know that, Bob.
So do you think that people need to date first for a little bit before you know they're the one?
You know what? I think that over a period of time, when you start dating somebody, you start to see. Now, one thing, just like Elder Cynthia said, because I have y'all in my life, it's certain characteristics that I look for, especially the hustler mentality and that person mentality. And when you don't have those certain things, man, it's not attractive. Because I watch how everybody in here has progressed. A lot of who I am is, of course, it's based off Pastor James, but it's based off of y'all too. Because y'all never let me rest when it comes to moving forward in life. Your boy-
We
your
love
boy
you,
just
Minister
moving.
James. Don't say it like that.
Well, no, I mean it's
That's
a
right.
great thing. It's a great thing, but you start to look for these characteristics just in a woman, someone who's
Right,
responsible.
because you around the greatest woman that, we go getters. We like, make
Absolutely,
it happen.
You want to get that bag. You got to say that.
We're going to get that bag.
If we got to
you
create
get
the
that
bag.
bag, you make it
James
happen. You're
already know.
responsible. You're loving. You're caring, and then you can get bucked sometimes. So all those characteristics you start to look at. So
Oh, you didn't
there's
say
some
that,
sort of
Minister
pattern in
What did you
that.
say? We can get bumped sometime?
Yeah, yeah, ain't no joke.
We're
You know what I'm saying?
we're just business people. I like, even though I'm a pastor, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I I'm just not only with the church, I'm also in business and success. I believe in having things in life. I think I owned my first house when I was 24, 25. you know, had many houses after that. You know, I can't see myself with somebody that's lazy, that is not a go-getter, that's not, you know, not about getting anything, or, you know, just lazy. You know, I can't do it. Like, you know, it's in my blood.
Yeah.
You know, what about you, Tavares? How do you think she's the right one?
Well, you know, she's the right one, like when you don't have to hide like certain parts of yourself.
That's a good one.
You know, you you can allow yourself to like break down in front of her. Like you can be vulnerable. You know, you don't allow your ego to like come and play when you're with her. You can kind of like just be yourself. Share your darkest secrets, your hurts that you've been through. I mean, to kind of put it in a nutshell, just totally break yourself down in front of her. Show her who you are, like get naked in a sense.
Wow.
And when you can do that, and she can cater to, you know, your hurt, you know, and do the opposite of what you've been through, and show you that she's not judging you through that. It'll help you, you know, not feel that you're losing your masculinity, you know, speaking to her about what you've been through, but she makes you feel that you're still a king and you're still a man of
Right.
God.
And I think that's what a lot of women have a problem doing. They have problem giving man affirmation, even yet when they see his weak point. And I think a woman, like, you know, she has to understand that he is the king, and you got to constantly give him affirmation. Men love to be loved. It's not hard to love a man. I think that a lot of time women don't know how to love a man because they wasn't taught how to love. Because to me, love is something you have to be taught sometime. And sometimes everybody doesn't have it. And we got to understand too, as believers, just because somebody have Christ and they love Christ, that don't mean they know how to love a human.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know, they may love Christ and have a relationship with Christ, and they, you know, but that don't mean they know how to show love to an individual or let them know how to love. So I think you're right. You do have to have somebody that understand your faults, your flaws, willing to work with you through your flaws, through the bad, good, and the indifference. That's what makes a relationship very successful, because you got two people with flaws, because nobody cross every I and dot every T. You got two people that's imperfected. No one is perfect, you know? So you're correct. Let me move on to Keisha and Stacy. What is your feelings on no sex before marriage? Because, you know, we're living in a time right now. Let me say it. They will preach that. They will talk about celibacy. They would talk about no sex before marriage. But these days, is it still standing? Is it still something we should follow? Because the word of God said we should follow it, but it seems like people have a hard time following that, especially when they're older.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Yes, indeed. I mean, we are living in a very sexual culture right now. I mean, let's just think about it. All the social media that surround us, it's a very sexual culture at this time. You know, however, you have to be very, very careful. I know that we were very, very careful with our marriage, because the thing that you have to recall and understand, which is so important, is that you don't want to bring baggage into the marriage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Bringing baggage into the marriage can weigh down the things that you're already trying to work on. You're trying to build on some things, then next thing you know, you're bringing Susie, John, Joe, and Mary into the bedroom. And she's like, who's Susie?
Right.
And I'm like, who's John?
Yeah, I don't know no John.
Well, go ahead.
Sexual baggage can damper what you're getting ready to go into. So you don't want to engage in additional baggage, right? Because one, we were supposed to be going into it abstinence altogether, right? Before you're married.
Right.
So in this day and age, we know that's not happening because it's a sexual culture, as Stacy said. However, understanding that, entering into that marriage with that sexual baggage on top of all the other baggage you have from the relationships. And mind you, remember, when you have intercourse with a person, you are now one with that person.
Right.
So you have to continue to remove that baggage from being one with that person. Every time you allow someone to have intercourse, that's intercourse inside of you. As a woman, you're now carrying that man.
That's right.
And now, man, you've now released a piece of you.
Yes.
So now you're walking around, both of you, with a bunch of baggage. So depending on how many partners you've had, now you're getting ready to get married. Now you got Joe, Susie, Larry, whoever you're carrying with you to bring into that marriage. It's just not a good idea at all. It's just,
you think it's best to get to know the person first, date them for a year, get to know them, because a lot of time when you do have that sexual intercourse, it opens you up emotionally.
yes.
And then it's kind of hard because you begin to lock in that soul tie. Because, you know, when one have sex, they start locking in that soul tie.
Exactly.
And then you find out it's so hard to get out of it when you find out they're not the one. And then you're so locked in the soul tie because you didn't wait it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
Right.
Absolutely. So you it's important to understand that you want to walk into something that you understand that we want to build our own fantasy.
Yes.
I don't want to bring a fantasy or a baggage to a relationship.
That's good.
Fantasy. You want to build your fantasy with
Come on,
your new husband and your new
Good.
wife. And
That's
let
right.
that be at the honeymoon.
Come on.
Okay. Let
Oh,
that
can I ask you a question? Because
with you.
can I ask you a question? Because I do a lot of women teaching in conferences, and you know, I counsel ladies and all that. And this is what they're saying. They're saying, like, when they eat like certain 40s and certain 50s and stuff, the woman is saying this: how am I gonna test them waters after the fact if it's dead? And I ain't gonna find out it's dead to the honeymoon. Like, you know, because we do find men has problems, sexual problems, like they are, what do you call them? They can't.
Impotent. They're impotent.
Yeah.
They can't get an
Like
erection.
a lot of men these days are impotent, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Impotent don't even start now till it's 60 anymore. Because why? Men got high blood pressure, they got sugar diabetes,
Right.
and heart problem. A lot of these problems cause men to be impotent.
That's right.
And a lot of time men marry you, they don't tell you that.
Right.
They hold that.
and women
And
have
then you go in
issues.
there and you on the
Right.
honeymoon and you
Women-
find out wait a minute, what's
Right.
going on?
Right. You know, with men, for women is opposite. You know, they want to, you know, that moisture is very important.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
Come on now.
So what I'm
The
saying
flow.
is,
You gotta have
so-
the flow.
Flow is important in health.
Okay.
but there is ways that you can, you know, find some things, you know.
Tell
I
us the way.
remember when we first met, you know, I used to come by and visit, you know.
Yes.
She wasn't
you
Elder
sure
Keisha at that
did.
time. You know, I used to kind of
Find a way
You know,
to my
we-
office. Yes.
you know, we used to work in the same building and things of that nature. So I come down and visit her. She used to say that I would wear tight pants and things. of
Sure
that nature.
did. I don't know where he was going, y'all. To this day, I still don't understand.
So, you know, there's ways that a woman can arouse a man, you know what I'm saying?
Based on her
You
conversation.
know, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? To see what that person may be working with. So, you know, if you want to find out, there's ways of doing it, which means that there's no sexual.
Yeah, but sometimes it arise, but it don't rise too long. So that's
Okay,
not
but
really.
listen, arousal comes from how long you stimulate him. Understand that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So he has to be stimulated to a place where he can stay aroused. So the question is, not only what is he bringing to the table, but wives and girlfriends that should not be doing this. What are you bringing to the table?
And then that's gotta be the part of the building of the relationship. You have to be able to build upon
That's that fantasy that
Right.
you've
You
created.
can't just come out the box and say, "Oh yeah, you know, boom." No, we have to. That fantasy's got to start and it's got to finish, and everybody's got to finish. Hello.
What's happening, man?
That's a
Hello?
no-no.
Thank you, Mari.
If everybody
Let's
is not complete.
Damari, let's hear it from the young point of view. Okay, I want to ask you a question, Damari. The question I want to ask you is this. Let me see your question. Why we find the most young people don't believe in no sex before marriage? Because a lot of young people don't believe in that.
No.
No, they don't. But I think it's.
But we're in a stage right now with the millenniums. They ain't hearing that.
No.
You can find probably 5% that believe that, or 3%.
Well, I think young people equate. I think number one, they equate sex to love. I think that's number one. most young people, depending on what age you are, you just came out of adolescence or you just came out of puberty. So all you know is what your body is feeling. And all you feel is like this physical, it's natural though, it's normal. But I think that's number one. I think number two, young people just see sex as physical and not emotional. I don't think they know, as you guys were saying earlier, how emotional sex is. So I think if young people knew, like you guys were saying earlier, the soul ties, when you sleep with people, you're carrying that as baggage. I don't think that is something that young people think about. I think they feel this feeling and they just want to do it, but they don't understand what they're putting on themselves. Yeah. And then as they go older and they start to date more and they start to get married and have more partners, now they start feeling like, why am I feeling these feelings that I'm feeling? Like, why do I still feel this person when now I'm with this person? And they may feel like, why am I putting the mistakes of him on her or the mistakes of her on him? And I think they just don't understand it. So I think it's an educational and a communication thing. They just see it as physical. They don't see it as emotional. They don't see that they're getting emotionally tied to this person, but it happens after the fact.
Right.
That's what honestly why I think young people don't think it's that important before marriage.
Okay, my question is to Cynthia. What does a woman do when she have these desires to have sex and she ain't got no husband? What does she do? How does she handle these urges? Men too.
Yeah, of course. It happens with both men and women, but you just have to change your mindset, change your thinking. You have to, when those thoughts come, you just have to think on something totally different. Because if not, you're going to find yourself acting out on those thoughts. So you just have to keep yourself occupied in some sort of way so you won't, you won't have to deal with it.
Somebody told me a long time ago, they said sex begins in the mind first. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that was a good answer when you say put your mind somewhere else. When your mind go there, you got to put your mind somewhere else.
Put your mind somewhere else. You find something else to do that's going to occupy that mind and take that mind somewhere else. Of course, it's going to come. We are human, and it's naturally. If you've been sexually active, it's just not like the desire of the
put it out like that. I'm going out it like that. It's impossible.
It's impossible that is just going to leave, that urge, that desire that's going to leave, but you don't have to act on it. You have to change your mindset. Like I said, once it enters the mind, you have to get that mind to detour to something else, think on something different, because if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you.
Good one.
Good.
If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you.
It won't change you.
But let me ask the men the question, because I need to know this. We heard it from the woman point of view. James and Travaris, how do a man sustain himself having sex when he have desires? How does he do it?
I mean,
they said it goes to the woman's mind.
Right.
Well, how does the man sustain himself? What do he have to do to sustain himself? Because it's a struggle. Is it not a struggle?
It is. It's very hard. Honestly, and we're not all virgins here, so we've all had intercourse, so we know the feeling of what that can be. But you just got to shift the energy. You have to shift the energy. When that feeling comes, you have to get out and do something productive. Like Elder Cynthia was saying, like it starts in the mind. You got to get out, maybe go jog, or just get out, take you a ride or something. And it's important to go back to what she was saying in the very beginning, like having a team. Like when you got people around you that's doing the same thing that you're doing, Christians that's trying to uphold themselves until marriage, you can keep yourself, like you have an accountability partner. Like, hey man,
right.
Like bro, it's real hard for me today. Like, this girl texting me, she acting crazy. I'm human because I have these feelings. She's telling me this, she's telling me that. And I want to go over there. I'm gonna be honest. I want to go over there. I do. But when you have that accountability partner, hey man, hold on. You on a certain type of road. You're trying to get this way. Remember, you're trying to sustain yourself until you meet your wife. And when you have those people in your life, they're going to speak life into you. So now, granted, you're going to have the urge still, but when you can talk to your accountability partner, they'll redirect your mind and they'll put you back on the road that you're supposed to be on.
What is your feedback on that, James? What do a man do when he has desire, he has the urge, and he's like, oh, you know what? I got to get me some tonight.
Right.
It's been a long time. I haven't done a release in a while.
So
What do he do?
like what you saying is all facts. Like what Elder Cynthia said, stay busy. The second thing is, and this is the most important thing, do not put yourself in a compromising position. Okay? Don't go over there certain times in the night when your mind on it, because men think about sex all the time, whether people want to believe it or not. That's just something that crosses our mind all the time because our factory is always producing, ready to make a baby. So that's why it's always on our mind. You know what I'm saying? And like Travar said, like we hit each other up. Like he didn't want to give us our props. I don't know if he was trying to be secretive, but we hit each other up like, bruh, I need something today. Like, and he'll be like, Jay, don't do it. And I'll be like, boss, don't do it. You know why? Because now we count the cost. What is this gonna cost me? If she get pregnant, child support, if it don't work out, because you shouldn't marry somebody just because you have a baby with. I know that's the old way of thinking.
Come on.
I know that's the old way of thinking, but just because you have a baby with somebody don't mean that's your wife. You made that decision. God did not choose that person for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you got to think about what if you catch a disease, because it's wild out here in ATL.
Yes.
Facts.
Yes.
It's
ATL
nothing
is
like the way.
considered the most epidemic with AIDS.
Yeah,
Right?
so you
The top on the list.
right, and you got to count the cost because see, once you taste the honey, you want the whole beehive, and then it's gonna be, then you gonna try to start backtracking. It's gonna be hard to come out of that situation. I mean, no, I'm serious. People don't like to talk about sex in church because they feel like it's I don't know what they like.
Degrading or
shouldn't talk
something.
about it.
Yeah.
But you rather the kids in church or a single person in church, a single or a divorced person have a godly perspective than get it from the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that we having these conversations because men fiend for it all the time. Women want it as bad as men do too.
Amen.
Me
Amen.
too.
Amen.
But one big thing is having that accounting part. I'll hit your bars up in a minute. Or we check each other like, where you going, bro? You see what time it is?
Right.
What you doing?
Right.
And you gotta, no, I'm serious. And you gotta find
And
somebody.
them girls be hot too. They be calling for the men, right? And then men be calling for the woman too.
Protect. Gotta protect it.
Yeah.
Protect.
And then you and one thing I do now, especially when I date and talk to somebody, I have that conversation in the beginning. Because if we ain't on that same page and again, and she's like, oh yeah, I can do that's not no problem. About 6 months down the line, she gonna have you wide open. You gonna be turned out, and then like you done lost everything you done worked for all these years of celibacy. So I mean, you laughing, bro,
But no,
it's
true.
That's true.
And it's normally right after.
I'm just thinking about the process. Look, I'm thinking about the process in my head because, like you said, you're in love. Now you done got caught in lust. You done lost everything. And
You lost everything.
Start back from ground zero.
Because the Bible does say sin is a reproach. There's a consequences. Don't nobody tell you, boy, sin would cause you to be stripped.
Yeah.
There's no lie.
No
Right.
joke.
That you had no business being a part of.
Yeah.
No joke.
First of all, I think when you start dating them, you got to find out, do they even have marriage in mind?
Right.
Why am I going to waste my time dating someone and they're not even in potential to be married, to get married?
Preaching.
I'm wasting my time.
Come
That's
on.
true.
So that means I know this person just want to get some, because if they don't have no potential of getting married, why are we even talking?
Right.
I'm not even going, I think when we do date, we must go with the intention to say this may be an opportunity to get married to this person, right? After a year, but that's why it's not quick to give up the cookies yet.
No, close the jar.
Because every time the woman get up the cookies real quick, we pay the price later.
Absolutely. When we was Elder Stacy and I was dating, when we first started dating, I was like, okay, sir, I'm looking to be married. Are you looking to be married? And his answer was yes. I said, okay, let's continue.
Right. So you think someone should continue in a relationship when they know the person's ready to be married? Because if they're not, they're just going to keep on having sex over and over. They're not going to stop. They're not going to feel any conscience of the Holy Spirit being convicted to say that, oh, I can't keep on doing this. I got to go get married.
Right.
They'll keep on riding it out, you know? So you got to make sure they first have a conscience that they even want to be married. Because do you know you got some people that don't want to be married again?
Yeah.
That's true.
They say, you know what, I just keep on dating, but I'm not ready to be married again.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's the woman that's to stand up and say to the man, well, you know, I'm not that type of woman. If you're going to date me, we're going to have the potential of being married. If not, bye. Don't
Right.
even waste my time.
Right. True.
Now, let me ask one more question before we go, because we've been on for a while. I want to ask Keisha and Stacy this last question. And this question is, and I think it's a good one. How do we mend an already established family when both parties have kids? Like when you marry somebody, they got kids and you got kids. And now y'all all got to come together and be one. That can be very challenging, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Even if the children in the home or not in the home, it's very hard to mend that family when you got established families already.
It is. It's very, very difficult. It can be somewhat of a large challenge. I mean, when you're blending a family, you know, I believe it has to be done appropriately. And when you're doing it appropriately, I think that you have to have somewhat of, I would maybe call it like a rule of engagement. What do I mean by like rule of engagement? Well, I would say that I can't come in here and just start putting my foot down and start controlling everything, because these kids that's in this house gonna be like, who are you? What are you doing? You know, they're gonna look at me kind of crazy. So I believe that you have to build a relationship. You have to build a relationship within the family. The Bible actually talks about how strong it is to be or have a foundation. So in order for that family to be strong, you have to have a foundation, and the foundation must be built on a relationship. So it is important to establish that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say this, what I found out, like, because, you know, in society now, we do find the majority of people have kids. Even young kids, you know, they meet somebody, they already got a child, or they've been in a relationship, or they have kids. And I find out sometimes when people do get involved, the kids allow that marriage to break up because they're not ready to receive the other partner. So a lot of time marriages are ended because the children.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the woman sometimes say, I'm not going to put a man before my kids. He was here. My kids was here before he got here.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not even biblical.
Right.
That's not
So-
even biblical.
But children don't understand that.
Yeah, they don't. And what children need to see, as Elder Stacy was saying, is the foundation is so important. That foundation begins to see how you interact with each other.
Mhm.
They need to understand that there's a level of trust that that parent, maybe the male or female, has brought into the marriage to say, okay, I trust them, because children are big on trust and security. So once the children see that there's a level of trust between you and your mate, that's why you have to have a united front.
Correct.
In front of those children, you have to have a united front. They are looking for division. They're looking for something to be wrong. Why? Because they feel like that person's coming to replace what they really don't want. They want their biological parent in the home.
Yes.
So they're looking for a loophole, something to say you're trying to replace him
Right.
or her, versus you're just here to give a level of security. You're here to bring a trust. You're here to mentor me. You're here to show me how Christ loves me in spite of, right? Christ didn't come for us.
So a man shouldn't just get married to the wife because he the head of the house and just saying, oh, I'm the man of the house. Kids, sit over here. Kids, you better do that. Kids, you better, right? That's a wrong approach.
He has to earn their trust, not just because he signed the paper,
Have to
not because
earn
they
it.
say I do. He must earn their trust.
And it takes time.
And that takes time. He has to earn that trust. And she has to earn that trust. This ain't my house. I'm the queen. You're going to do how I say. No, ma'am. You have to earn that trust. One, you have to remember you're not that child's mother at all. You're not. However, you are here to bring a level of love to her that she can identify through Christ. That's what you're there for. Not to bring in, I'm your mother now, I'm your stepmother. Now, if the parent has passed away, now that's a different type of story because of different scenarios. But in regards to that, children look to say, are you trying to replace my mother? You're not my father. You're not my mother.
Right.
Who are you talking to? I ain't got to listen to you. No, but if you establish that trust, you know, it's a different type of atmosphere, because there's children that I have a relationship with that I'm not even their parent, but the level of trust that they have with me, have shared things with me that they haven't even shared with their parent. So it's all about trust that you have with that child, and what you bring to the table as that foundation. What are you trying to build? Are you trying to understand that child? Or are you trying to influence that child to what you want them to do, or understand what they're going to so your influence can be long lasting? Absolutely.
All right, our time is up. We had a wonderful time on relationship. I just think these topics are so important. I think so because we're so in quarantine right now. We can get attention of people. So when they get back out there and we come out of quarantine, they know how to handle their family. And even when we go back to the churches, we know what, because I believe God is doing a shift in the land.
Yes, yes.
I think when we go back, we're not going back to normal.
Right.
We're going back to things that we never been through before. You know, there got to be some changes. And I think changes begins in the household first. You know, so I believe that this session that we have, which we will continue again on next Tuesday, I want to teach on family for the month of this. I want to go, I'm a pastor, like to go to areas where pastors won't go. I like to have discussions where pastors, they were like, oh, she's a pastor and she talk like that. I'm a pastor, but I'm also human.
Right.
And I think that's what people forget sometimes. They become so self-righteous that they can't even communicate in reality. The Bible says sometimes we become so earthly, we so spiritual, we so no earthly good. You know, he said, my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. You know, you got to talk about these things. That's why we got people end up in the psychiatrist. Listen, you sit in the psychiatrist, you go to the psychiatrist, they sit in the chair, they're going to ask you these same questions.
Yes.
They're going to ask, they're only asking you questions that the church ain't asking you.
That's right.
That's all it is. The psychiatrist is going to areas where the church refused to go.
Yes, it.
Amen. Amen.
So why not bring these questions on live where people will say, oh, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, because a lot of people can't say stuff because they don't have the experience behind it.
That's right.
It's true.
You got to live this thing out. You got to walk this thing out. Well, I want to say thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed our session on marriage, relationship, and dating, I hope it was a blessing to you. You can cash app us at $, rejoice in the word ATL. Again, you can cash app us at $, rejoice in the word ATL, or you can text and give at 45777. I'm hoping these conversations that we had has been such a blessing to you, and your heart is opening up to receive it and not be ready to quick to judge, but to understand that we are still human. We still have desires. We still have this thing that's called flesh. Even though we have a spirit, we also have a flesh, you know, and I hope it's been a blessing to you. And we want to see you tomorrow. I am going to be doing with a couple of my good pastor friends, sign on at Wednesday at 8 p.m. We're going to be talking about the pandemic to the coronavirus. I'm talking too fast because I'm excited about tomorrow.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock.
Amen.
We're going to be talking about where do we go from here when we get back to our churches? What do we do as a pastor? How do we survive this? So tomorrow I'm going to be having Bishop Wesley Wiley on with me, my friend Pastor Simmons, my friend Pastor Bumpus. We're going to also have Pastor Reed, and I'm excited. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. I would like for you guys to join. I'm a pastor that's completely different. I'm going to discuss stuff that people don't never discuss. I don't know whether because I came from the streets or something, or, you know, my life is what I experienced in life. You know, I was not always here where I'm at today. I do have a past that I was able to live through. You know, the things that the Lord took me through as a young age, I have the experience to tell other people that they can hold their head up, whether it's a woman, whether it's a female, whether it's a teenager. You have the ability to overcome that which you were once yet in bondage to. And sometimes I believe the church are still in bondage because they don't want to deal with reality. They don't want to bring things to the red table. You know, that what's the name, bring things to the table? What's her name?
Jada Pinkett.
Jada
Jada
Pinkett.
Pinkett. So Pastor Caron is bringing things to Zoom, to the table, at the Zoom, at the village.
Yeah.
Amen. God, I love you guys. See you next week. Don't forget to cash app us if this has been a blessing to you. Love you guys. Let heaven shine upon you. Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sandwich.